Welcome back to making a latex corset with Catasta Charisma, part 3. With the front sections complete, I continue painting the remaining sections of the corset, the side panel for the front and back, and the back panels. As the corset has symmetry, I tend to work on both left and right panels of each section simultaneously. I'm not trying to be perfect, as if I'm a robot. I'm quite happy for there to be some slight differences in the mirroring. So none of the coloured blocks are marked out beforehand, but rather judged by eye as I'm applying the latex. There isn't much more to say about the process of the painting that wasn't mentioned in the previous video, except for one thing. You will notice that on certain panels that the latex is taken right up to all the edges, whereas on other certain sides are left blank. The areas where no painting is taking place are the underlying seams of that panel, which a neighbouring panel overlaps upon. It is important to keep these areas clear of the painting for a couple of reasons. The first is so the seam areas remain flat, that there isn't this heavy texture build-up of rubber, and the other is because when the latex dries and becomes rubber, through this process of printing with a stick, the surface can be super smooth, and this can make any later coating of glue that bonds the seams very weak. At the end of the video, I will explain a little about putting in eyelets, but for now, enjoy watching the development of the painting. For the eyelets, I wanted to add some extra rigidity to the back edge of the back panels to make the corset a little more resistant to tugging when lacing, so I decided to incorporate a rod. You don't have to do this, but some manufacturers of latex corsets do something similar by using boning placed either side of where the eyelets are to be placed, or actually drilling holes through boning itself. I tried this second approach, but unfortunately I didn't have a drill bit large enough. The non-painted side of the back panels are folded over the rod and bonded behind the corset using glue. The positions of the eyelets are then marked out on the back sections and holes punched through the layers of rubber and rubberized fabrics using a hole punch. I tend to make my holes slightly smaller than the eyelet, so the rubber grips the eyelets more strongly once inserted. The male port of the eyelet is inserted through the hole from the front of the work, the female port inserted over the top of the male port, and the two parts sealed together by using tools often supplied in kits with the eyelets. The eyelets that I am using for this corset are slightly deeper than typical eyelets, as I knew my layers of rubber after they were painted with latex would be quite thick. As the rubber is already reinforced with the rubberized fabric, as seen in the first video, and so helping to prevent the rubber stretching, which is the main reason why eyelets can pop out of corsets, there was no need for me to add any extra reinforcement. If, however, you are making a corset that does not have such a laminated layer, then at the very minimum you do need to add a strip of rubberized fabric that is sandwiched between the folded over area of the back panel. The full incorporation of the eyelets is going to take me some time, so join me for the final video where I will be making up the corset in full, adding boning, waist tape and tidying the whole thing up. Thanks for watching!